Maria told me, in confidence, that she was certain that you were the Bay Harbor butcher.
Don't call it a comeback. Dexter's been here for years. Well, not really. But Dexter Morgan is back yet again. This time in Dexter Resurrection, where the first 2 episodes dropped last week. They opened up on a strong dose of nostalgia, presumably an attempt to try and recreate that old Dexter vibe. We got ghostly appearances from Trinity, Miguel Prado, Sergeant Dokes, and of course, the one and only Harry Morgan, who was, disappointingly, just haphazardly thrown back into the mix as though he'd not missed a beat. While I'm thrilled to see the return of James Remar as Harry, the way they reinserted him felt like a big missed opportunity. That being said, I'm thrilled that Nutjob Harry is back, and I thought the first 2 episodes were a pretty good start for a new story involving our favorite TV serial killer. There are basically 4 main storylines developing here. Number 1, Harrison's murder of passion. Harrison has a job at a fancy hotel in New York City, the Empire Hotel. Harrison intervened and saved Shauna from her would-be date rapist, killing her attacker in a defensive fit of rage that reminded him of Kurt Caldwell. This is what actually led Dexter to New York, where amazingly, Dexter suspected and confirmed that a body chopped into 9 pieces found in garbage bags was indeed the product of his son. Harrison paid attention to his old man's lessons about body disposal, and Dexter is mighty proud to learn that. This will undoubtedly lead to an inevitable reunion between Dexter and son, where Harrison is now being pursued by a rock star detective, Claudette. While Dexter is yet to reveal himself to Harrison, he's already helping to cover his tracks. But methinks Claudette is going to be a potential "don't let your son get caught" victim. The storyline has some potential. Number 2, Dexter's discovery of a serial killer, the so-called dark passenger, or as Dex calls him, the impostor. This fella has been killing off rideshare drivers, which got Dexter's attention. Amazingly, Dex's new bestie has a friend and colleague who survived an attack from the killer, and it takes Dexter no time at all to track him down, discovering he goes by Ronald Schmidt. The imposter is wearing fancy technology that essentially makes him invisible to a camera when in kill mode. Dexter saved a would-be victim and tracked the imposter into the subways, but couldn't keep up because he's in terrible physical shape following his 10-week coma. Perhaps Dexter ought to lay off the Cubanos and cheeseburgers, switch back to tuna, and start hitting the gym, or at least finish his rehab. The imposter almost feels like the Skinner, where he feels like a behind-the-scenes fake Big Bad sort. He's obviously not the main antagonist, although I suspect Dexter will wind up incorporating his infrared camera-avoiding techniques. After all, constant surveillance in the city that never sleeps is a bad situation for a serial killer. There is potential here with Schmidt, and it overlaps with the next main storyline. Number 3, Leon Prader's serial killer racket. Aside from the trailer, we haven't actually seen Prader yet, but we know Charlie is one of his operatives. We know Prader is fascinated with serial killers, and we know he and Dex will soon cross paths. Charlie sent an invitation to this imposter fella, which is likely the connection that will lead Charlie to Dexter and Dexter to Prader. It appears that the billionaire philanthropist is running some kind of serial killer racket, or perhaps a cult of sorts, where serial killers get financial compensation working for the billionaire. This is implied when Charlie kills a fella named Keith, whom she referred to as the Canton Clubber. Again, there is some good potential here, especially when Prader's mysterious agenda gets revealed, which comes with the territory of additional serial killers. But number 4 is undoubtedly the best new storyline with the greatest potential in Dexter Resurrection. Dexter Morgan versus Angel Batista. In New Blood, Batista learned that Dexter lives. And lo and behold, Bishop suspected he was the Bay Harbor Butcher. Bishop apparently since fled the area with her daughter and backtracked on her claim, leaving Batista utterly baffled. But Batista is on the prowl. He informs Dexter that he has indeed been officially resurrected. He spoke at Dex's memorial, and he is obviously mighty suspicious with questions about Deb's fate Dexter's time spent hiding as Jim Lindsay, and the spectacular claims made by Bishop. Of course, Bishop ain't the first person to accuse Dexter of being the Bay Harbor Butcher. Batista's ex-wife LaGuerta suspected him as well. And the man who officially took the fall as the Butcher, Sergeant Dokes, was always suspicious of Dexter too. The fact that Dexter mysteriously fled the scene certainly amplified Batista's suspicions. The fact that Harrison just sold the truck that belonged to Dexter under his Jim Lindsay alias will eventually lead Batista to New York City, where he will track down Harrison, and by extension, Dexter himself. This is the one storyline that will either make or break Dexter Resurrection. No matter what happens with the impostor Ronald Schmidt, no matter what happens with Leon Prader and Charlie and that whole organization, and no matter what ultimately happens between Dexter and Harrison, the inevitable showdown between Dexter and Batista is the one true storyline that matters most. It creates a situation where, for the first time in the history of the franchise, Dexter has an antagonist we are actually rooting for. While I personally was a huge fan of Dokes, he wasn't necessarily easy to root for. Same type of thing with Chief Angela Bishop, the hero of Dexter New Blood. The fanbase generally disliked her, mocking her as nothing more than the super cop who uncovered Dexter's Bay Harbor Butcher identity via Google. I was fond of Bishop myself, and Dokes is my favorite temporary character in the show, so I had no problem rooting for those two. But the greater fan base tended to root for Dexter, where they especially loathed Chief Bishop. That's the potential genius at play here. Unlike Bishop, Batista is a beloved OG character who clearly does not fit the code. Like Dexter, Batista has long been a fan favorite. People who had a difficult time rooting for Dokes, and people who hated Bishop, those same fans aren't likely to turn on Batista so quickly. And the entire ordeal feels like an all or none scenario, meaning this can only really end two different ways. Either Batista is triumphant, and he's the man who ultimately takes down the Bay Harbor Butcher, where he can get justice for Dexter's innocent victims, direct and indirect, including Rita, Deb, and of course LaGuerta. It could also provide long overdue redemption for Dokes' good name. The other alternative is that Dexter takes Batista down, adding yet another innocent victim to his ledger. Either way, that's the story that drives the show here. For what it is, I thought Dexter Resurrection got off to a decent enough start, where the potential of a Dexter versus Batista showdown in itself can carry the season, especially if it's well integrated with the other main developing stories, particularly the mysterious Leon Prader. If I had one major complaint, aside from Harry just being dropped in as if he never stopped being Dexter's inner monologue, it's the fact that nothing became of Logan's death. Not yet anyway. There ought to be some repercussions here, and I for one hope that Batista gets to the bottom of it, perhaps with an unexpected assist from former Chief Angela Bishop. What did you think of the first two episodes of Dexter Resurrection? Please share your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and have a wonderful night.
I don't know what Jim Lindsay likes to eat, but my old pal Dexter Morgan loved himself a Cubano.
Little taste of home. Can I order a cheeseburger?
Absolutely.
Actually, make that two.
A nice man. I don't know too many personal details about him. You like tuna?
Tuna?
Damn it, Dexter. There are consequences to everything you do in life. Lose control, become powerless, and it's over.
But we all know that the Bay Harbor Butcher was Dokes, right?
Surprise, motherfucker.